I hope everybody's well tonight. We are contemplating the chapter on impermanence, page 187 of Change of Heart. Although we devote our life to following our urges and satisfying our cravings, whatever happiness we find is fleeting. We make plans, relying on things that constantly slip through our fingers. Before we know it, they will be distant memories. How often have we been happy? How often have we been sad? Joy and sorrow come and go all the time. Neither lasts very long. Every emotion, every passion, like a drawing traced by a finger in water, is momentarily visible, then vanishes. If you don't mind, I'm going to read that paragraph again because it's so rich and deep. I would like to read it again. Though we devote our life to following our urges and satisfying our cravings, whatever happiness we find is fleeting. We make plans, relying on things that constantly slip through our fingers. Before we know it, they will be distant memories. How often have we been happy? How often have we been sad? Joy and sorrow come and go all the time. Neither lasts very long. Every emotion, every passion is like a drawing traced by a finger in water, momentarily visible, then vanishes. So think about that image of drawing a letter or a design in water with your finger. Immediately as it's drawn, it disappears. Every emotion, every passion is like a drawing traced by your finger in water. Briefly visible, then disappears. We need to realize that we have neither freedom nor control. We can't choose how long we live or how we will die. We don't want to get old, yet we do. We don't want to get sick, yet we become ill. We certainly don't want to die, yet death is inevitable for all of us. And it can come at any time. Whether we are young, old, healthy, or sick is irrelevant. There is nothing more traumatic than leaving this body because there's nothing that we are more attached to. We tend to take it for granted. But when impermanence overtakes us and we face death, our attachment becomes overwhelming. No matter how wonderful our family, career, or possessions are, we will take none of them with us through the doorway of death. And the day after we die, our loved ones won't want our corpse around any longer. Sometimes things just sort of come up in our lives that are an opportunity to contemplate. For myself, I have really been contemplating attachment recently, just because of circumstances. And one thing that has really struck me is how invisible our attachments are. We think we're just floating through life, gliding through our day-to-day experience. Oh, I don't have any attachment. I'm not attached to anything. But as soon as something happens that changes our routine, or we have to move, or we suffer a setback and we lose our job, at that moment when we lose something or we're squeezed, then we see the attachment. Up until then, it's completely invisible. I'll give you a very silly example. Lama Yeshe's parents came and spent a month with us. We have a very small house, so they stay in the room where we usually do our exercises. We have a couple exercises machines, so we couldn't do our exercises in that room. Also, the practice room is converted into a breakfast, lunch, and dining room. Then, of course, we have one TV. So all day the TV is on the Catholic channel or the Sartanasia channel. So it certainly is wonderful to have our in-laws visiting. I love them dearly. But I could even see with the cats and the dogs, our routine changed in the house. My routine changed in the house. And I started to see such silly attachments. That otherwise, if you would have asked me, I would have said, me, no, I'm not attached to this. I'm not attached to that. But when it's taken away, all of a sudden you see it. Wow, I was attached to my routine. Wow, I was attached to being able to do my practice here, offer this time of day. I have a routine. You know, Dharma is also an attachment. I have a routine in the morning to go and do the offering bowls and make the protector offerings. But I couldn't access the shrine because that's exactly where my father-in-law sits in the morning to have breakfast. So I found myself like kind of almost trying to like squeeze in behind him and do the offering bowls. And he was looking at me and I'm kind of pushing him out of the way. And finally I said, I just can't do it. But I saw, wow, I'm really attached to my offerings too. And that's a good attachment when you're attached to the Dharma. They say that's a good attachment. But it's also attachment. And I suffered when I couldn't do it. So don't be fooled. All these things, oh, I'm not attached to my body. Well, you sure about that? Because someday when the news comes that you're next in line to potentially leave this earth, you may be surprised how attached you are to this body and this life. So now's the time to prepare. Now's the time to really, you don't have to detach. What you have to do is meditate, contemplate, and penetrate how impermanent this arrangement is over and over and over, that we are composed of the five aggregates: form, feelings, perception, thoughts, and consciousness, and that this is a temporary situation. And at some point, because anything that has come together will eventually fall apart, at some point this arrangement as well is destined to dissipate or disintegrate. So understanding that one time intellectually won't help us. We need to contemplate it and penetrate over and over and over and over until we feel it in our atoms that this is very, very fragile, impermanent situation that at any point in time we can lose, and we need to be prepared for that moment. And we do that through our practice of the Dharma.